The graduation caps have been tossed, and now begins the real world. The reality of possibly having to pay rent, student loans, and maybe even budgeting for the very first time. For many recent graduates, independence, financial independence, can be overwhelming. It's why we bring you the expert tips from our friends at Neighbors Federal Credit Union. If that means simply starting a strong financial foundation right from the start, or even maybe getting a head start on your retirement. Here are those tips for any graduate.
You're a recent college graduate, you're looking for a job, but you really need to know what are your expenses? What type of income can you accept from a job? If you get an offer for 50,000, but you've got $70,000 worth of expenses, and I know people like that, that's going to be really important looking at what your financial needs are when you're assessing looking for employment. You need to just write down where you're spending your money, track where you're spending your money. How much is it going to be for rent, your car expenses? Don't forget the student loan, ever so important. Taking for granted the little things, the stops to Starbucks, the nighttime going out. We don't consider that a bill because it doesn't come in the mail, but that needs to be in the budget as well. I think it's foolish to think that graduates are getting out of school debt-free these days. I know it happens, but that has become something really, really important. And especially now with the government becoming more aggressive about collection practices, is not something we can kind of take for granted and say, I'll get to that later. Talk to your student loan provider to see what your options are, because again, maybe what they give you initially may be a little bit stiff or a little bit steep, but I'm sure that they have some payment plans that can work with what debts you have. Really focus on what you want, and you've got to want whatever that goal is. There's Dave Ramsey. Most people have heard of him. I love his saying, live like no one else, so later you can live like no one else. I mean, that is really a quote to take to heart. Yes, you may have to, kind of stay home while your friends are sailing out in the beach and having fun. But if you can stay focused and you have a solid plan and you're following it, you ought to be able to see the light at the end of the tunnel, that at some point in time, you'll be sailing debt free, and then they'll still be struggling. Save, save, save. How to save money, how to have an emergency fund. So important. And then also, don't take for granted retirement. I know it seems like retirement is 3 light years away, but the sooner you start saving for retirement, it's the time that really builds up your investments. Neighbors wants to help you with a blueprint. Come in, sit down, talk to one of our counselors for free. We've got the Blueprint for Financial Success, which is going to look at where you are and where you want to go, and how do we craft that plan to get you from point A to point B.
For more money-saving tips and to see how Neighbors Federal Credit Union can help you get back on track with your finances, just head to unfilteredwithkaren.com and follow Neighbors Blueprint for Financial Success.
Welcome to a world of convenience with Neighbors Checking. Choose your reward option, cashback, dividends, or ATM refunds. Control your accounts from the palm of your hand with mobile deposits and card controls. Get answers quickly with chat and our virtual assistant, Nate. Plus, with direct deposit, you can say hello to your paycheck up to 3 days early. Neighbors makes checking that easy. Neighbors Federal Credit Union, building relationships that matter.